about making this quite a hot and furious hip stretching class, and then I remembered how hard you'd been working for your mala training and thought that would be a cruel and unusual thing to do to you. So instead we're going to repeat the idea of hip stretcher one, and we'll just do a few long holds on a couple of poses. So first of all, we're going to start in a seated cross-legged position. So if you're in easy pose, Sukhasana, have your feet under your knees. If you find yourself rounding in the back, you know what to do. Grab a block, a book, a folded blanket and sit up. Okay, so find something that suits. Close your eyes. And drop your awareness from behind your eyes into your belly. And just spend a few moments checking out your hips. How do they feel? Are you feeling that your knees are hovering? That's a sign that you probably need to be up on a block if you're not already, or maybe 2 blocks. You need to be able to release the hips. So some of the long holds we're going to do today will be challenging. So they provide a perfect opportunity to work with the breath, to stay focused on the breath, rather than any feelings of discomfort. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward. Release in the hips. Are you hovering the knees? And then walking your arms over to the right. So bear in mind, I'm not mirroring. I'm going to the right as well. Breathing into the left side of your body. So we're just spending a little time in Sukhasana here to encourage the hips to open. And then we'll wander casually over to the left. Soften. And walk back up. And come to all fours. Now it's freezing today, so I'm going to keep my fleece and my socks on. If you're in a nice warm house rather than a stone cottage, knock yourself out, whip those socks off. But for now I'm keeping mine on. We're going to come into a lovely, I think it's lovely, hip flexor stretch. You might want to get a blanket for your knees, especially the back knee, or you can always pleat your mat for a little bit of extra cushioning, okay? So simply step your right foot forward, slide the left leg back. So we did this in the last hip session. Anjaneyasana, low lunge pose, but we're not going to just stay here. Draw that right hip back, the left hip forward. There's always going to be a slight asymmetry in the pelvis in these poses. That's fine, but we just want to minimise that as much as we can. So let's just allow the stretch to cook a little here. You could always have your hands up on blocks if that feels more comfortable for you. Your next exhalation is sinking a little more into the groin. Keeping the collarbones wide. And let's step back and swap sides. Left foot forward. That knee remaining, you can see, ta-da, that knee remaining over the ankle. So this time it's going to be your left hip back, draw that right hip forward. So you should be feeling that stretch in your right groin, down the right thigh. Use the breath. That looks lovely for the viewers at home, Kit. Yeah. And we'll step back. So far so good. Now this next one, we're going to increase that sense of stretch in the thigh, in the back thigh. What you want to do is try and get the top of the kneecap to the mat. And then we're going to catch up that back foot. So it's not quite so uncomfortable. If you've got the kneecap, the centre of the kneecap on the mat and it's weight bearing, it's going to feel like agony. So you want to get that back leg as far back as you can and then pick up that back foot. So it should feel fairly comfortable. And you're going to come up. So here we are coming into a back bend. So make sure that mullah band is lifted. It's a bit of a balance as well. Drawing the elbows back. Now it might be that this is not accessible. So you can always come down, hand on a block, whoop, wobble there, or on the floor. I'm going to change the grip. So just finding a stretch that's working for you. So down here takes the pressure off the lower back. Maybe engaging that little band so you can rise up a little more. And gently release. And we step back. Do the same on the other side. Getting the top of the kneecap on the mat, if you can. Don't worry if this feels a bit impossible. Reaching back, finding the foot. So this could be you here to begin with. And maybe coming up to here. And then maybe both hands behind, lifting up. Ooh, find my balance. Maybe sinking a little more once you've got used to it. Gently release. Move yourself back. Sway the hips. Child's pose. So hopefully you're already feeling that the lower back has had a stretch. And then we'll come up, and you might want your skinny block here. So we're doing a wide-legged seated forward fold, and we're going to be taking our time with it, so we are going to do a long hold for this. You can use blocks galore here. because what we want to do is allow the body to relax in order to stretch out the hips and to release the back. And if you're straining and pushing and shoving unsupported, nothing is going to relax at all. So let's use our props. They're not lesser. It doesn't mean you're cheating. It means that you're supporting your body so it can relax. So over time, you'll be able to enter these poses. And I'm still working on this. So you're going to sit with your feet nice and wide. Oh, as wide as they can go. And if you feel, again, you've got that schlump in the lower back, that is a technical term, schlump, you can always sit on your block. So you sit on the block only to the point that your sit bones, if you have a feel, you'll get to that point where the sit bones get to the edge of the block and then, oop, there, they drop off. And that enables, you put your fingers on your hip points here, you can feel the pelvis tilting as you come forward rather than getting left behind and you end up bending from the middle. We always hinge from the hips in these forward folds, okay? So we then maybe want to have a couple of blocks. And you're going to rest your arms on these or your hands on these, or you might not need them. Strong legs, pushing out through the soles of your feet, knees pointing to the ceiling. So we don't want this to happen. Lift that belly nice and tall. Inhale, take your arms overhead. And exhale, keeping the belly lifted, you're hinging forward from the hips. You can find your blocks, you could be up here. That's fine. You could be on your hands here, also fine. Right, I'm going to time us here. Oh, what should we say? We'll go for a minute first of all and then see how we go from there. So find the point that you feel, oh yes, my hips are getting a stretch, my hamstrings are getting a stretch, but it's not so tough that you're gritting your teeth and wishing it was over. So we just breathe here. Now inhale, keeping the core engaged, lift. So you could come back onto your fingertips if you come off. And imagine you're leading with the chest. As you exhale, you're lifting the belly up and over. And maybe you can come down a little more. If you can't, that's fine. You repeat what we've just done. I'm going to do another hold here for another minute. Keep pressing out through your feet. Belly stays lifted. Ease yourself back up, carefully does it. Help the legs back together. Pop the knees out. block if you're still on it. And lie down on your back. Plant your feet. Oh, my beloved socks are going to have to come off now for a good grip. Look after them. So lying down on your back, plant your feet, and you can look as you do this at hip width, the outer edges of your feet parallel with your mat. Arms down by your sides, pressing your shoulder blades into your mat, chin softly drawing in. Inhale, tip the bowl of your pelvis away from you. Exhale, press into your feet, lift the hips, bring them in line with your knees and shoulders, pressing down through your arms, looking up at the ceiling. Exhaling, rolling down through your spine. Inhaling, tipping the pelvis away. Exhaling, let's press a little higher now so you feel more weight shifting onto the shoulders. So here we're stretching our hip flexors again, getting the front body open. Exhale, come down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. So straighten yourself up again, in case you've moved. Inhale, tip the pelvis away. Exhale, lift. And then you can roll onto your right shoulder and tuck the left shoulder under. You do the same on the other side. Tucking the right shoulder under, clasp your hands, and then we lift a little higher, pressing our hands and our arms into the mat. Your neck should feel perfectly natural, I should say. So you're not flattening the neck at all, because the weight is landing on your shoulders and your upper back. Lift. Gently release the hands, walk the shoulders back out. Exhale, roll down through the spine. Inhale, tilt the pelvis away. Exhale, bring the knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Slide your hands behind your knees. We'll rock a few times backwards and forwards along the length of the spine. And coming back to all fours. And pigeon pose. Can be a tough pose, pigeon pose, but again, we take it in degrees, in stages. Keep the blocks handy. So we're going to do the right side first, so have your blocks over to the right. All fours position. And you're going to swing the right knee behind the right wrist, and then the right shin underneath the body, about 45 degrees. That's enough for now. And you're going to shimmy that left leg back. Flointing, so the flexed point of the foot. That's to help keep the knee a little bit more stable here. Now you might find that your hip, if I turn around and show you this way, so you might find that your hip isn't down on the mat. So you might be here. So you can slide either a skinny or a chunky block under. All right. You have to be able to relax in this pose. I may as well stay this way around if I'm facing this way. So we're going to do a long hold here. So find what feels comfortable. Inhale. Keeping that core lifted. Exhale. Again, hinging from the hips. We're coming down. See how that hip is feeling. And we're going to time it. So if this is too much for you, you know what to do by now. You just pick yourself up a wee bit. You find your edge. It's not going to be the same as my edge. Keep thinking about drawing that right hip back, the left hip forward. It's a constant process of adjustment. And try not to let your mind become distracted by that discomfort coming up from those big hip muscles. This is where you really use your breath. So you inhale. Imagine that discomfort stretching and expanding. And as you exhale, almost imagine it popping or dissolving. Inhale, expanding like a yawn. Exhale, soften, release. So that's 1 minute. We're not leaving yet. Inhale. Exhale. And just see if it's available to you. Come down to your next stage. So this could be on your elbows. Could still be up on your hands. We're always investigating whether we've created the space to move into. Use the breath. Ease yourself back up. Tuck the back toes under and hop. Yourself back to all fours and then ease yourself back. Child's pose. So your paw. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? So we need to do the other side. So move your blocks over to the other side. It's not going to, what is it? It's not going to feel the same. Right, so just pretend you've never done it before, so you don't make any assumptions and you don't put yourself in a position which is too much for this side. Okay, love you too. You can stop licking me now. Left knee to the back of the left wrist. Swing that shin across. Shimmy down. Get comfortable, floint that front foot, check this knee is okay. If it's really going, help me, then what are you still doing in the pose? Get out. You do not put up with pain. Try to square your hips up as much as possible. Sort your block out under the left hip. If you're listing to one side, then you need a block. Inhale. Exhale. Let's creep down to our first staging pose, holding it for a minute here. Release. How's this first layer of tension feeling? Breathe it away. And then see if you've created more space to move into the pose. It doesn't matter if you haven't, you just need to explore that possibility. Because if you don't try, you won't know. And here we go, another minute. Almost there. Walk yourself up. Tuck the toes under. Whoop. Yourself back. Child's pose. I think he's practicing his Ujjayi breathing. Such a drama, dog. Such a drama. Come back up. Or rather, you can move into Shavasana now. Hopefully your hips should feel quite good, quite loose now. You'll have some warmth there, that's fine, but they should feel really well lubricated. Good work. Hips are worth persevering with. I know when you start, it does feel a bit like hell on earth. But it gets better. Good work. Namaste.